Don't miss any content. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell.
Hey guys, welcome back to Sahara Football. We are still in lockdown here in Ghana, and today we're going to do a throwback to the 2014 World Cup saga. I've been reading this book by Coach KWESI APPIAH, Leaders Do Not Have to Yell, and inside he details the events that happened during the 2014 World Cup that we now call the 2014 World Cup debacle. A moment that was supposed to be historic for Coach KWESI APPIAH in terms of him being the first Ghanaian coach to send the Black Stars to the World Cup turned out to be a really devastating and embarrassing moment for him in terms of leadership in the Black Stars. I'm looking at the events as he narrated them in his book, Leaders Do Not Have to Yell. As usual, if you're new to the channel, I advise you to subscribe to the channel and to click on the notification bell to get more updates. So Coach KWESI APPIAH, we all know, qualified the Black Stars to the 2014 World Cup by beating Egypt emphatically. Now, prior to this, Coach KWESI APPIAH had other stints with the Black Stars, and he was with, at the time, Milovan Rajevac. He was an assistant to Milovan Rajevac at South Africa 2010, so some experience there with the Black Stars had been gathered. Before then, even in 2008, after the African Cup of Nations that were held in Ghana here, KWESI APPIAH had a short stint with the then coach of the Black Stars, who was in the person of Claude Leroy. He had his assistant here as well, who left after the end of the tournament. Now, Coach KWESI APPIAH, going further back, had started pursuing this Black Star job way back in 2000 before he moved out of the country to further earn his coaching badges. But that's another story for another day. The focus here is on 2014 World Cup. Now, Coach KWESI APPIAH, as I said, qualified Ghana to the World Cup by beating Egypt in the final round of qualifiers. Ghana were placed in the group with USA, Portugal, and Germany. Before the tournament, the technical team and the players met with the GFA and the government committee members, those who were in charge of paying players. First of all, the players wanted $120,000 and the management staff wanted $82,500. The committee did not agree with that amount, but the negotiations were still ongoing. Because Coach KWESI APPIAH had not presented his final squad that was going to the World Cup, many of the players did not want to push any further with the negotiations because you wouldn't know if you are going. So what's the point in arguing over something you are not going to get? Finally, Coach KWESI APPIAH presented a 23-man squad, and it was when trouble started. The players were promised that by the time they get to Miami, their money would be ready. Before then, there was a game in Montenegro. That was before the final list was presented. In Miami, they got to for preparations. Miami, Florida, they got to for preparations for the tournament, and it was still not forthcoming. So many promises were coming in, but nothing was delivered as of yet. Coach KWESI APPIAH and the technical staff were worried at this point because they usually don't get involved with player appearance fees at this point, and also usually it is paid in cash. This time the government of the day wanted to pay the money in wire transfer. The players wanted it in cash. So fast forward to the first game of the tournament. That was a game against USA. Before that game, the players insisted that they were worried as to why their money had not come, an agreement they have had with the Football Association, and it was still not forthcoming. At that point, they were not as hesitant, but Coach KWESI APPIAH boils down the two issues that happened in 2014 World Cup to two major occurrences. First of all was the money issue, and secondly was player behavior issue. Going into the first game, the Black Stars, unfortunately, after playing so well against the United States, lost 2-1 in the dying embers of that game. A game we were supposed to win. We went behind earlier on to the United States, coming back from Andre Ayew's equalizer, but unfortunately, a goal from the United States gave them all 3 points. Heading into our second game, the Black Stars players were promised that their money would be on a chartered flight and it would be with them before they played their next game against Germany, which ended 2-2, a thrilling game, I have to say. One of the best games in the World Cup, and Ghana became the only team that took a point from Germany throughout the tournament. They were the eventual winners. The money did not come before the Germany game, and what led to more tensions in the squad for the Ghana Black Stars players. And as Coach KWESI APPIAH describes it, there were a few issues that happened before the final game against Portugal. Before that game, they were told again that a chartered flight would meet them in Brasilia, where they would be having their final game, and the Black Stars players were eager to meet them. The few days before the game, when they arrived in Brasilia, the training session for that day was cancelled because most of the players said they would not take part in training until they received their money. The Black Stars players did not train that day, and Coach KWESI APPIAH felt that would not really affect preparations. But 2 days to the clash, in one evening, he heard noise on the corridor of their hotel room. He went in there and was told that Sulley Muntari, who was having an argument with one of the management committee members, called the management committee member a liar. In the heat of the moment, the management committee member sought to have a tussle with Sulley Muntari. He retaliated, and that was what the noise in the corridor was all about. And Coach KWESI APPIAH went into Sulley's room. His roommate Michael Asian was there. He told Sulley Muntari to let it go and let bygones be bygones. When KWESI APPIAH left the room, he heard some noise again, and when he came out, he saw Sulley coming out of the room. Apparently, after the talk with KWESI APPIAH, went out of his room and went back to fight with the management committee member. Eventually, the management committee member was given another hotel room, and KWESI APPIAH sought it fit to suspend Sulley Muntari from the Ghana Black Stars from that point onwards. That was the situation with one player. The next player he had a situation with was with Kevin Prince Boateng, and I'll read this from the book for you to see what's the issue with Kevin Prince Boateng. Now, ahead of the game against Germany, I was officiating a half-field game. During training, when I did not whistle for a foul, Kevin considered a rough tackle, but by another player on his partner. Kevin was unhappy with the decision, and he angrily uttered a sentence leading with the F word. I ignored the statement. Moments later, he hit a powerful shot at goal and scored for his side. I remarked, "Good shot." "What the F is good shot?" he responded angrily, and I ignored his comment. I carried on with training session. In another instance, during a training session after Germany game, he was upset over something and directed his frustration toward me, again using the F word. I asked him to take a seat on the sidelines, and until later, when we'll calmly discuss what was bothering him. So that was the issue there with Kevin Prince Boateng. According to Coach KWESI APPIAH, his F word leading sentences was what he didn't like. But I personally feel this is about someone who was not born in the Ghanaian culture, who was not born here in Ghana, did not grow up in Ghana, and probably doesn't know that using that word discriminately and brandishing it like that would be so offensive to the coach. KWESI APPIAH did not like it, held his calm. Unfortunately, those two players, Kevin Prince Boateng and Sulley Muntari, did not take part in the final game with Portugal owing to these factors. Ghana went into the final game with Portugal, and as you know, it ended in tears for us. We lost that game 2-1. Asamoah Gyan made history in that game, but unfortunately, we were knocked out along with Portugal. USA and Germany moved on to the next round. After the incidents of occurred at the World Cup and Ghana's poor performance, the money, however, did eventually come and was in cash for the players. So why the delay? Also, $8 million was going to be given to every country that took part in the World Cup. So supposing every player got $100,000 from the government, it would have been $2.3 million on top of what the management committee members were asking, it would have been in total $3 million that would have been used by the government, and that would have been 1/4 of the $8 million that was going to be given by FIFA to every participating country at the end of the tournament. So KWESI APPIAH was surprised by the government's reluctance in bringing out that money, and it led to the disruption in the camp. According to Coach KWESI APPIAH, if this hadn't happened, they would have probably progressed out of the group stages into the round of 16. But those are if, buts, maybes. We cannot know for sure if that was a contributing factor, but we all know disruptions in the camp of football teams can really have an effect on the field of play. There was a Jamefe commission that was held, and Coach KWESI APPIAH narrated everything that happened. Sulley Muntari and Kevin Prince Boateng were subsequently suspended from the Ghana Black Stars and asked to apologize. Sulley Muntari has apologized since then. Kevin Prince Boateng, however, has not since then, and that is why you have not or seen him in the scene of the Black Stars. Others feel Kevin Prince Boateng used the Black Stars to his advantage to move his career forward. Remember, he took part in the 2010 World Cup and did not take part in the 2013 African Cup of Nations because he said the pitches in Africa were bad and he could not play on them, and that would affect him in his club career. He did not take part in the tournament, and Coach KWESI APPIAH was not one to push him to play. If you want to play for the country, you have to be willing to do it no matter what. He came back for 2014 quite opportunistically, according to some people, to play for the Ghana Black Stars once again at a World Cup tournament, and we all know how people would have seen that. So that is how things unfolded, and these two players, that is the reason why they are no longer playing for the Ghana Black Stars. Sulley Muntari is well beyond that age where he can play a game actively, and also Kevin Prince Boateng is not a happy bunny. He is not ready to play for the Black Stars. Kevin Prince Boateng even told, according to Coach CK Akono, he was told by Kevin Prince Boateng that he doesn't look like someone who wants to play for Ghana. Once again, Kevin Prince Boateng has said that he hasn't shown any indications of wanting to apologize for his actions, and we all know he is a character. So that has been it for today. Looking back at the 2014 World Cup, the events that led to Ghana's issue with the $100,000 bundle that John Boy was seen kissing here in your shot. Let me know your thoughts in the comments box. Which version of the story have you heard year in, year out? Have you heard this part of the story before? Did you know this much details? Did you know about the fight, how issues unfolded in the hotel room and all that? Were you privy to that? Did you know about the Kevin Prince Boateng and KWESI APPIAH training pitch incident that led to them falling out with each other? Let me know your thoughts in the comment box. A bit of throwback here. Stay safe, stay home, and we will surely pull through this one. Enjoy your day.